Motivation can only get us so far, but discipline is what gets us to our goals. What if the new year isn't about declaring big changes based on how motivated we feel at the moment? So instead of asking, who do I need to become this year? Maybe the more gentle question is, where is God already at work within me? Hello and welcome to Mom's Way to Wellness. If you are a mom who feels lonely, unseen, and overwhelmed with the demands of motherhood, you are in the right place. I am your host, Ida Maravillas. I help overwhelmed moms transform their challenges into mental health and generational well-being as we talk about the struggles of motherhood, parenting, and mental health through a lens of faith. I offer resources and guidance to help you work through the challenges that are impacting your relationship with yourself and with others. Let's get into today's episode. Today we're talking about how faith can help us reframe the way we walk into the new year or any new season, really. I'm going to cover motivation versus discipline, reframing the new year or any new season through a lens of faith, and how wholeness is about looking at what's going on inside of us versus having a focus on transformation on the outside or at a surface level. I've mentioned before that we are made up of all of the experiences we bring into our motherhood, and those experiences matter. They shape our capacity, our responses, and how we work through the seasons we are navigating. Years ago, I worked out with the best personal trainer I have ever worked with, and something she said stayed with me. I think about it whenever I want to tackle something challenging. She said that motivation can only get us so far, but discipline is what gets us to our goals. It resonated with me because motivation was something I related to. It can be good, positive, and help us dream really big. But discipline means consistency, following through and showing up even when we don't want to. We can find ourselves motivated to want to change, but being motivated doesn't mean we will have the margin, the energy, or the support to sustain change in the way we imagined it would look. So, what if the new year isn't about declaring big changes based on how motivated we feel at the moment? What if we accept that this season can offer relief from the pressure of drastic self-improvement? What if we considered a softer approach that is intentional and helps us to recognize who we are at the moment? It can be a time to honor the version of us who continues to show up, the one who is still healing, still learning, and still growing in wisdom about who we are and who we are called to be. Today can be approached as an opportunity to thank God for the work He has done in us up to this point, before we ask Him what work He wants us to pick up and do ourselves. It may not lead to a resolution, but a new year is about so much more than resolutions. In the last couple of episodes, I've mentioned that when we consider what we are already carrying, we will be more mindful before we decide to add more expectations onto ourselves. Let's look at how we can align ourselves with God from within rather than working hard to fix things on our own. As we transition into any new season, let's consider what matters to us, what's already working, and what needs adjusting. When we name what matters, we identify what we value. For many moms, that's time with our family. If that resonates with you, maybe alignment looks like protecting connection with loved ones rather than adding more tasks to our to-do list or routines. What types of interactions help you feel more connected with your family? Those are the things that could guide you into this next season. When we name what's already working, we acknowledge what doesn't need to be changed. Maybe there are rhythms like family dinners or shared routines that are already serving you and your family well. Let's acknowledge the parts of our routines that are working well and make it a point to continue to make room for them throughout the year. And when we name what needs adjusting, we can recognize the things that haven't been working. So we can ask God to help us approach these areas with flexibility instead of judgment. Some seasons require grace more than unrealistic major changes, especially when we are in seasons of parenting that consist of activities, sports, and responsibilities that keep our lives full. So if there is a part of you or a part of your family life that needs a tune-up, it doesn't need to be a drastic change. Small steps can make a significant difference over time. What matters is how we embrace discipline and show up, even when our motivation has run dry, even when we don't feel like it, and even when it feels like it's too hard to do. There is a verse I want to share with you that I have turned to in many new seasons. It's in Lamentations 3:22 and 23. It says, "The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness." What I love about this verse is the promise it holds to be able to start over every day, not just on a Monday, not just on the first of the month, and not just at the beginning of a new year. Wholeness doesn't come from the things we do to change ourselves on the outside. It comes from being aligned with God from the inside. It comes from making peace with hard situations, finding our worth in our Creator, and recognizing the way God already sees us. So instead of asking, who do I need to become this year? Maybe the more gentle question is, where is God already at work within me? The work that is already started within you matters. A new year doesn't require a whole new identity. It offers an invitation to live more fully into the one you already have. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to have a perfect plan. I would like to offer you some affirmations to help you walk into the new year or any new season you're in. I can move into a new year one day at a time. I can accept God's mercies every day. I am not called to be perfect, and God is at work within me. Again, these are affirmations. These are things that we can think throughout the day. These are things that we can repeat, that we can say. These are thoughts that can help to reframe the way that we look at the things that we hold ourselves to. So if your walk into the new year or any new season has left you feeling unsure about what you should be doing next, I hope this conversation reminded you of how important it is to slow down enough to notice what's happening inside of you and bringing that to God with honesty. I hope it also reminded you that God's work in us is not rushed. It's not driven by our timelines, our schedules, trends, the expectations of others, or even New Year resolutions. God's ways are steady, faithful, and deeply personal. And the same God who has met you in the past season is already present with you in this one, ready to walk with you one day at a time. Thank you for listening to today's episode. Please subscribe and leave a review. This will help others find the show. If you would like to receive additional resources on motherhood and wellness, you can join my community by subscribing to my email list at idamaravillas.com. Remember, wellness is possible one step at a time.